Go, Christopher.
There you go. Beautiful stroke. That's Christopher. That's a huge improvement.
Hup.
It's a really big improvement. Look at you go. You're going to be a rider.
Hup.
Hey, this is how you do it, Mum. You know he cantered before.
Yeah, I know. I was watching him.
Good boy, Christopher.
I take out the key.
Wow. Hello, everybody. And that's great to hear, Cece. Oh, I nearly clicked the wrong button then. Hello, Strike first. Glad you're all good. I'm looking at the wrong screen now. Don't mind me. Sorry, guys. Everything could go wrong, has gone wrong at this point. Might make it through this without anything else going wrong. So, have we all heard the news about Debbie Collier? About her ruling? Apparently. Hi, babes, forever. No problem, love. And thank you for that comment. That's lovely of you. So, Debbie Collier, apparently, their ruling is she passed herself over, unalived herself. You haven't heard that, Miss Brandy? Thanks, babes. That's lovely of you. Thank you. Yeah, I just found that out. She, I will find it now and share it with you. No, it doesn't, does it? It is the most strangest thing. So I'll swap this over here so you can see it when I move it over here. If things want to work with me, that'd be great. This is really sad. Makes no sense at all. Things don't want to work with me. I'll remember to add the audio this time. Oh, what are we doing? No, not like that. That's better. Makes no sense at all to me. I'm finding that a bit hard to believe, but apparently the medical examiner has ruled Debbie Collier's death a unaliving. Autopsy results released this week revealed the Athens woman died from inhalation of superheated gases, thermal injuries, and hydrocodone intoxication. So I'm guessing she took, not guessing, she obviously took a bunch of hydrocodone tablets. Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking too, Miss Brandy, considering the kind of person she looks like. Although we don't know her job, the way she dressed, the way she presented herself is rather conflicting with that, to me anyway, in my opinion. But even the hydrocodone tablets, depending on how many she took, I don't know, it's just weird to me. Strange. Like even taking a lot of them, if she's not used to it, to be driving on them and walking and acting normal, unless she'd been taking them for quite some time, I don't understand why she wouldn't have done it at home. I don't understand why she wouldn't have left a note. And according to Amanda, when she did that interview, she was giving her things. She give her a hug and a kiss, extra long hug and kiss, she said. And what I don't understand is, why didn't that come up when she was talking to the police when her mum went missing? None of that come up then. She never mentioned anything about mum was acting oddly. Hi, Pamela. No, I'm not understanding that either. It is, yeah, it's just strange. Even under, if you look at it being under the influence, I'm finding that strange. Unless she had an addiction. I still don't understand the whole driving an hour away from there. I don't understand the Venmo message. None of it makes sense. And if what Amanda said is true about her not having life insurance, then why the act that somebody had her? Why would you put your family through that stress? Why would you go an hour away from where you live when you were home alone? That bit I'm not understanding. And I have to say, she really does not present as a woman that would unalive herself that way, especially the burning. Not understanding that at all. However, I did, give me 2 seconds, I'll see if I can find them. No, you're right, Pamela. I can't ever remember a case like that either. Not that I worked in police force, by the way. Sorry. But following true crime as long as I have never come across a case where that's been done. Oh, please open up. Sorry, guys. Give me 2 seconds and I'll see if I can get this to... No, my computer doesn't want to work with me now. Okay. Nothing's working for me. Ah. Oh, sorry, guys. I'm having problems here. Oh, good God. Nothing wants to work with me, and at the moment I can't see what any is saying. Good God. Just bear with me for a sec, guys. Sorry. Oh, now things are working. Oh, thank God for that. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to see if I can get this up for you. Apparently, things want to give me a hard time today. Very odd. I find this the most strangest case. One of the most strangest cases, I have to say. I'm just trying to find these documents. Okay. Let's try this again. Okay, that's one. And that would be two. Then we go three. Okay, now I can share this with you, hopefully. Thanks, CC. I'm getting there slowly. All right. Share this again. Right, now. All right. Now I can get you guys back so I can read this. So this is the report of when they found Debbie. I don't know how you guys, if you guys can see that or not. I mean, this bit doesn't have much on it anyway. It just says accident type person down, incident code 7300, premise type highway, accident location or incident location GA15 MB prior to Victoria Home Lane, Clarksville, GA. The 9th of the 11th, 22, 9/11/22, which is the 11th of the night. Sorry, guys, I'm doing the Australian way. Just says the Sergeant Neil Ethan, Adria Townsend, Officer Dakota Foster, Forrester Blake, Carson George, Garrison Kale, and Kyla Neal, and the coroner. So if we go to the, hopefully it will come up for us. No, wrong way, wrong way. Okay. So this is, oh, can we go up? Make it easier for you guys to see. If I can go up that way. That way you can all read along with me. On Sunday, September the 11th, 2022, at approximately 12:28 hours, Sergeant Ethan Neal was notified by Habisham 911 dispatch that a caller from Sirius XM service had been pinging the vehicle per the request of Athens Clark County Police Department in reference to attempting to locate a missing person. The caller from Sirius XM advised dispatch that they had been attempting to locate the vehicle and believed it to have stopped or pulled over in an area of GA 15 northbound in the area of Victoria Home Lane, Clarksville, GA. The vehicle was identified as a 2022 Chrysler Pacifica, black in colour, bearing GA tag CMQ 9309. The missing person was identified as Deborah Todd Collier. Date of birth, the 9th of the 2nd, 1963. She was born the same year I was. Sergeant Neal requested Officer Dakota Foster, Tallulah Falls PD, to be en route to the area to attempt to make contact. A short time later, Sergeant Neal was notified by Foster that he had located the vehicle. Sergeant Neal responded to the scene. Oh, sorry guys, didn't mean to do that. While en route, Sergeant Neal contacted the Athens Clark County Police Department and spoke with Sergeant Johnson. Johnson advised Sergeant Neal the circumstances of missing persons incident and informed him that they had been attempting to ping Collier's cell phone throughout the night. Johnson also advised Sergeant Neal that the last communication from Collier was to her daughter. He advised that Collier had used Venmo to send approximately $2,300 to her daughter with a message that stated something to the effect of, "They won't let me go. There is a key to the house underneath a flower pot." I can take these off. Guys, I put them on because I did notify Joe that I was going live. Oh, that's better. Upon Sergeant Neal's arrival, he observed the vehicle parked in what appeared to be a pull-off that leads to an old logging road directly off of GA 15 northbound prior to Victoria Home Lane. Sergeant Neal was notified by Foster that he had observed this vehicle in the same spot at approximately 1700 hours, which is 5 p.m. on 9/10/22, but informed Sergeant Neal that vehicles routinely pull into the area. That's the bit I don't understand. This whole bit here. Foster also advised Sergeant Neal that the vehicle was unlocked and was unoccupied. Foster also stated that he had walked into the woodline a short distance to see if he could immediately locate Collier, but was unable to do so. That I am not understanding. Why a police officer would stop at a vehicle, get out the car and check to see what was going on, sees the car is unlocked or check that it's unlocked, and only walk in a little bit and not notify dispatch, not get other LA out there to look for anybody. The fact that he wasn't concerned that the vehicle was unlocked either gets to me. Are you guys still with me? Or have I lost just... Am I still live? Oh, yep, there we are. Thanks, CC. Yeah, that was a wow moment for me. Like, I did know about it, but to actually read it and know that this guy, this police officer, got out, like I said, the fact that the car was unlocked, knowing that he saw it there and nobody's around it, I'm not understanding that. So I don't get that. Sergeant Neal requested Lee Arundel Correctional Institute K9 to be en route to the scene. Sergeant Neal also requested, Georgia State Patrol Aviation to be en route. A short time later, dispatch informed Sergeant Neal that LACI was unable to respond due to the unavailability of a K9 and was advised that GSP Aviation would be en route. I'm not either. Why didn't he run it? Yeah, that's what I don't understand. I mean, you would think the fact that the car was unlocked, why wouldn't you call... I mean, if you walked in there a short bit and then come out, I wouldn't walk all the way in there either, being on my own. But why wouldn't you notify dispatch and get other members out there? Not... It's all a little odd. Neil requested Deputy Blake Forrester to be en route to attempt to locate Collier. Yeah, me too. I find that hard to believe myself. I agree with that, CC. They seem to be lacking a whole lot lately. I think a lot of them need to take a good look at themselves and remember what they're in the job for. While on the scene, awaiting the arrival of Forrester, Collier's daughter Amanda Bearden arrived on scene in a hysterical state. Bearden began screaming that the vehicle belonged to her mum. Now, this is before they actually found Debbie. She was there before they actually found Debbie, even before K9 was there. Bearden began screaming the vehicle belonged to her mother. Bearden was notified by Athens Clark County PD that the vehicle was being pinged by Sirius XM and provided her with the approximate location of the latest ping. Sergeant Neal and Foster spoke briefly with Bearden, asking general questions in reference to Collier's mental health state and briefly about her medical history. Bearden advised Sergeant Neal and Foster that her mum did not have any history of any mental health issues and denied any suicidal tendencies, which kind of goes against what she said in that interview. She also stated that her mum had a bad back and couldn't have walked far. Now that, like I said, contradicts what she said in that interview she did. I would hope so too, Pamela. I'd like to think they would do that here. I'm glad that you made it too, T. It's great to have you, love. Yeah, this, like I said, police need to, or the sergeants need to pull all their policemen in line and remind them why they're doing this job and what their duties are. And if they have lost the caring part of it, then it's time for them to leave. That's the way I see it. Hi, Holly. How are you, sweetheart? Glad to see you. It's ridiculous. It breaks my heart more and more every time. The more you read about these cases where police are failing, the more it just, yeah, breaks my heart, like I said. And like I said, this is Amanda's like this before they even find Debbie. While speaking with Bearden, Forrester arrived on scene. Sergeant Neal briefed Forrester on the incident and requested that he deploy his canine to attempt to locate Collier. As Forrester proceeded south, I skipped a bit. Forrester deployed his canine and began searching for Collier. Accompanied by Sergeant Neal and Foster during the track, Sergeant Neal allowed Forrester to stay approximately 25 to 30 feet ahead of him, while he and Foster scanned the woods for any sign of Collier. As Forrester proceeded southeast through the woods, Forrester called out to Sergeant Neal that he had located an item. Sergeant Neal and Foster quickly approached Forrester. Sergeant Neal observed a red tote bag laid on its side near an uprooted tree. At the root ball of the tree, Sergeant Neal observed what appeared to be the remains of fire. As Sergeant Neal approached the fire, he looked further down the embankment. Sergeant Neal observed what appeared to be a partially burnt blue in colour tarp. As he looked further down the embankment from the tarp, he observed a nude female lying on her back, grasping a small tree with her right hand. Sergeant Neal approached the female, immediately observing her to be obviously deceased, and identified her as Collier. Sergeant Neal observed Collier's remains to be apparently burned with what appeared to be charring to her abdomen. That bit confuses me. Does that mean that other parts of her was burnt and it was just charring to her stomach? That's the bit I'm confused on. Sergeant Neil instructed Forrester to hold the immediate area while he returned to his patrol vehicle to make the appropriate calls for assistance and to establish a crime scene. Sergeant Neil returned to his patrol vehicle, established a crime scene using crime scene tape around the immediate area of the vehicle, and began a crime scene log at approximately 15:06 hours. At this time, Corporal Andrea, what time did they get there? 12, if I remember. Yeah, 12:28. And it took them until 6 minutes past 3, so might as well say 3. So did I, CC. I thought it was only her stomach too, love. That's how I took what they said. But there's now 2 different things on that. Apparently, her remains apparently burned with what appeared to be charring to her abdomen. Sounds like 2 different areas to me. Well, that's all I've ever heard too, Pamela, is just her stomach or abdomen, nothing about anywhere else. And if they're saying charring of her abdomen and then called the rest burned, it sounds worse than what they were saying. Yeah, CC, Hi, Heather. How are you, love? I find that extremely strange. That's an awful lot of pain to put yourself through. Which, read the scene bit over for you, Holly? Is that the bit you're talking about, love? Okay, I'll read that bit over again for you. As Forrester proceeded southeast through the woods, Forrester called out to Sergeant Neil that he had located an item. Sergeant Neil and Foster quickly approached. Sergeant Neil observed a red tote bag laid on its side near an uprooted tree, which would tell me the tote bag was not burnt. At the root ball of the tree, Sergeant Neil observed what appeared to be the remains of a fire. As Sergeant Neil approached the fire, he looked further down the embankment. Sergeant Neil observed what appeared to be a partially burnt blue in colour tarp. As he looked further down the embankment from the tarp, he observed a nude female laying on her back, grasping a small tree with her right hand. Sergeant Neil approached the female, immediately observing her to be obviously deceased, and identified her as Collier. Sergeant Neil observed Collier's remains to be apparently burned with what appeared to be charring of her abdomen. It definitely sounds like two different things to me. And the other parts sound worse than what her abdomen was, obviously, because they say burned, and for her abdomen they say charring. It is such an unclear statement, Holly. Well, I heard two different stories, CC. I heard that she was naked, and then the Law Channel said that she was partially nude. No, it's all confusing. It swapped and changed. I heard she was nude first for the first couple of days, and like I said, when I watched that, God, if I can only think of the, with Vinny in it, he said that she was partially nude. And then they say that her abdomen was charred, and that's all I heard. I didn't hear anything else about her being burnt anywhere else. And obviously the red tote bag wasn't burnt. I just don't understand a 59-year-old woman doing that to herself, as well as driving that far to do it, not leaving a note, nothing, but sends a Venmo. Don't understand that at all. Townsend arrived on scene and took over maintenance of the crime scene log for the duration of this incident. Sergeant Neal contacted Habersham County Sheriff's Office Criminal Investigation Division, Investigator George Carson, and requested his response to the scene. Sergeant Neal also requested that State Fire Marshal's Officer Agent Brian Smith be en route to the scene. A short time later, Carson, along with investigator Carl Carrison and crime scene technician Kayla Neal, arrived on scene. The scene was turned over to Carson, Garrison, and CST Neal. Sergeant Neal requested Next List Wrecker, RJ Wrecker Service, to be en route to remove the vehicle. Upon completion of the initial investigation at the scene, Collier's remains were collected by coroner Kenneth Franklin, with assistance from Habersham County Fire and EMS personnel. RJ Wrecker's service removed the vehicle. Sergeant Neal followed RJ's Wrecker service from the scene to the Habersham County Sheriff's Office, where the vehicle was placed into evidence. Sergeant Neal returned to service. It all seems very odd, doesn't it? Makes zero sense to me too, Holly. And like I said, it kind of, that interview that Amanda did, where she said, you know, her mum was giving her things and hugged her goodbye a little bit longer and said, I loved you, or whatever she said. Don't quote me on them exact words. But then why wouldn't she explain that when she reported her? Because she rang up and said about the car and other things. Yeah, me too, Heather. I agree with that. Even if she had taken a few of them tablets, the hydrocodone tablets, oh no, it's not in this. I'm not understanding this at all. What they say, the results of this week revealed the Athens woman died from inhalation of superheated gases. Superheated gases, that would tell me that she doused herself with something. The inhalations, thermal injuries, and hydrocodone intoxication, says Habersham County Deputy Coroner Ken Franklin. Yeah, CC. She looked like she was walking really fine in that surveillance. But and yes, I understand that people think about things after the fact, but at some point, Amanda thought about the way her mum kissed her goodbye, the things her mum had given her. She said she was acting. Oh, she caught her mum crying and kept asking her what was wrong. Yet, as you heard in that report, she stated her mum had no mental health problems. She's definitely not thinking to unalive herself in any way. So at that point, why wouldn't she have thought about that? Yeah, T, she would. But if she took quite a few of them, you would think she would have trouble walking straight, driving properly. But like I said, I still can't get over the part of why didn't she do it at home? She was home alone. Why didn't she leave a note? She could send a Venmo. Why not send a message saying, I'm sorry, nobody was going to get to her before she did it? I'm not understanding any of that. Hi, April. How are you, lovely? I don't understand this at all. I really don't. Oh, now see, here's a contradiction. Look at this. I just happened to turn my head and see this. On September the 11th, law enforcement found Collier's partially nude and burned body in the woods near Tallulah Falls in northern Habersham County. Franklin says the autopsy results are consistent with what he saw at the scene. Oh, that's no good, April. I hope you get well soon, love. So there's a contradiction, and this come out today. So why the contradiction? And it actually says burned in this, I notice. I don't get that at all. And why no presser? Will you make sure you look after yourself, April? Please. Even if it is just a cold, still need to look after yourself, love. It's pretty evident that she started the fire. From what I saw and what I considered to be the case is that this was a self-inflicted passing, but I was relying on the results of the autopsy and the doctor at the lab to make the final call, Franklin says. So if he thought that, why was the presser put out that this is personal? Targeted and personal. That's good, love. Glad to hear that, April. Like I said, I hope you get better soon. I hope the cold passes. Colds annoy me. See, that doesn't make sense either, saying you put out this press conference saying, no, this is targeted and personal. But in the same, he's saying that he thought that. He pretty much thought that. No, Heather, I agree with you. But I'll guarantee you it will be left this way. It is the contradictions in them too. Partially nude, charred abdomen, burnt. And now, like I said, he's saying that that's what he thought. But Hable put out a press conference saying something totally different and then take it back. In a recent appearance on the podcast, Crime on the Record, Collier's daughter, Amanda Bearden, indicated she believed her mother unalived herself, reflecting on the days leading up to her mother's passing. Bearden says her mother had shared with her some key intimate things and was giving away things. And like I said, why didn't she bring that up when she reported her, or the several times after that she spoke to him, or even when she turned up there and they were talking to her and she said she had no mental history and that she was definitely not inclined or in that way to unalive herself. Long shot here. So she took tabs to unalive herself, decided to light a fire and fell into the fire. But on how was she holding onto the tree? How was she holding onto the tree? Your guess is as good as mine, Pamela. And yeah, that's the way I was thinking too, Pamela. I'm wondering when she was in that car park and she backed out and then pulled over on the other side. I'm wondering if that was the point that she took them tablets or took tablets. And she ended up there where she was because the tablets had started to kick in. Well, that's the bit too, April. Why not just do it by overdosing? But as Pamela said, and that's the way I looked at it too, maybe she lit a fire to keep warm or something ridiculous, I don't know. But maybe under the influence of the tablets, she fell into the fire. But in saying that, see, now I'm playing devil's advocate and fighting with myself here, because if she fell into the fire and ripped off her top, she had charring of the abdomen, but she was burnt. So I'm confused with that bit. I would agree she fell into the fire and maybe her shirt caught light while she was as the medication hit her more. And there's my problem too, April. Why the message to her daughter, usually with unaliving, no, you apologise for what you are doing. Maybe tell why. If she was kidnapped, you certainly would not tell where your house key is. And that was my issue. That was the first thing I said. Not to mention that no kidnapper is going to allow you to send money to your daughter or even text anybody. Yeah, Pamela, she was found face up. And if she fell on the fire, Pamela, here's my other problem with that, Pamela. If she fell on the fire wasn't that big because it was very damp out there. So if she fell on it, then she would have smothered that fire out. It's I mean, you think about everything she's done for Amanda in the way she's helped Amanda and everything. You're going to do that to your children? Without an explanation or a note to say, I love you, it's not your fault, I'm sorry. Nothing. That's a good question, Pamela. I'm not sure. I know it was I remember them saying it was fairly damp. Well, that too, April. Nothing. Why not a message to Steve? See, as I said, she was an hour away. So even planning it, sending that Venmo, she took the risk to send that Venmo. So why wouldn't you then send messages to everybody saying, I love you, it's not your fault, there's this for you, there's that for you, etc., because she would have known they wouldn't have made it to her to stop her from doing that. Hi, Bex, how are you, lovely? I don't. It was wet out there. Not sure did it rain that day, but it was said to. Yeah, that's the way I remember it too, Holly. That it was very damp there, and it was supposed to rain, if I remember correctly, that afternoon or the next day. Yeah. There you go. What was the purpose of buying the rain poncho, the tarp, and the reusable tote bag? None of it makes. Why stop and buy anything? Why the Chick-fil-A stop? And now I heard that and I'm saying I only heard this, so it was rumoured that apparently Amanda said that nobody had seen her the day before, which would have been the Friday, because she went missing on the Saturday. Then, but the story all along was that she went and took Amanda lunch, or took Amanda and what's his name? Lunch. No worries, Holly. Yeah, April, you would. I mean, you think about how many times she's bailed Amanda out or helped Amanda, and Amanda's just moved there. So why would you do that to her? Why would you do it to your son without a note? Even if she was having trouble in her marriage, you would still send some sort of message, because that doesn't cut off the years that you've spent with him, with Steve, regardless of what state their marriage was in. Andrew's the son, Pamela, is that right? Oh no, that's Amanda's boyfriend, isn't it, Andrew? This case just frustrates me. There seems to be contradictions everywhere. Well, that's what I thought too, April. That's what I've always thought about that argument, that Debbie didn't know Andrew was coming with her because they weren't supposed to be living together. She took them lunch on Friday, well, took Amanda lunch, and then found Andrew there. But if you're cutting your daughter off and saying that's it, then why are you from the Venmo with a message other than saying, please remember I love you, always will love you, I'm sorry, hun, the same message to her son? Why would she leave them in such torment? I couldn't imagine it. And to be honest, could be totally wrong about Debbie, but she doesn't seem to be that type of woman, or lady, I should say. She seems to be somebody that's very well put together, presents herself really well dressed, everything's matching. She's very organised to have the job that she's had and have it so long. She seems to be very organised. I don't. She seems to be totally opposite to what she's presenting herself to be, is what I'm trying to say. Or the way that they're putting it, that seems to be totally two different people. Yeah. That's what I say too, Cheryl. No, I don't believe that either. Like I said, with all the contradictions, the no notes, no nothing, you're telling me that you have lunch with your daughter. There's another thing now. According to Amanda, she rang her that day to get her cleaning supplies. So if she was going to get her daughter cleaning supplies, Why would you say, yeah, I'll grab your cleaning supplies knowing you're not going back there? Unless it was totally an accident. She wasn't planning on passing herself over. Maybe she was just planning on sitting out there for some unknown reason to have some lunch or something. And like we said, took tablets and fell on the fire. But that doesn't sit well with me either, because the fact that it was damp out there, and you could see by the burnt marks that they showed you that if she fell on it, she would smother it. I'm so confused at this point and frustrated. Seems to be the answer to most of these things now, these people missing and found. That seems to be a trend now. I wonder what things she was giving away too. That would be interesting to know. Do you think it was possible that Andrew was present during the argument and put a chokehold? He could have. Very much so. But apparently, in saying that, apparently Amanda had a temper too. And like I said, I couldn't see her taking what seems to be a lot of medication and driving. No, you're right, April. It's not like he went and checked on her. But if she had passed over the day before, or the night before even, laying in bed, even if you did pop your head in and check, probably wouldn't know the difference if there wasn't light on her or wasn't light enough to really. Yeah, it sure does. It says a whole lot, sadly. Yep. I don't know. It seems to be a lot of strange unalivings happening. Like Trinity's another one. The fact that she was nude and in that pipe that they had to cut her out of, that it took them that amount of time to find her, that the aunt's stories changed 3 to 4 times. And I get that you don't remember every small detail, but you remember the main event. So it wouldn't vary that much. I agree with that. You know, it's really easy to go into a rage and hurt somebody or a little child. But as human beings, that's where we have to practice self-control, and we need to show love and mercy and forgiveness 100%. And that's what we were talking about on Joe's channel. This is why I started this channel. I am people that say very hurtful, harmful things to others seem to be pedestaled. And the ones that are very caring seem to be being squashed, or then there's the other half of them that are too scared to speak up. And I believe if we all put our heads together, we can change it. I believe love conquers everything. Respect for each other, to not put up with being spoken down to, that if people are doing the wrong things, belittling them, it's not going to change that. They're just going to shut down and not listen anyway. You never achieve anything by belittling somebody. People just need to take a step back and before they type. Me too, April. I agree with that. I would like to know how they would explain it. That would be interesting, how they think that she did this. I mean, the lady is the same age as me. I would not and could not imagine myself doing that. I would, you have a bad back and you're going to walk into the woods. Yeah, I get that you've taken pain medication, but why out there? Why not the letters? Why not the... I don't get it. It's really hard. She was home alone. You could have laid in your bed and taken that medication and unalived yourself there. Yeah, it does, Holly, doesn't it? One would wonder if that's their go-to if they can't work things out. However, they do have undetermined. Looking back on it, it just almost seemed like she was giving me all of her things, be it and said. So if that was something unusual for your mum to do, wouldn't you question that? Because she said that about her mum giving her things, and that she caught her mum crying a couple of times and asked her what was wrong, and her mum said nothing, she was all right. But as we all know, when your mother or a loved one is really upset and really hurting, and they say, and you question, and they say, no, I'm all right, you know that they're really not. You do notice the difference. So I find it, that's another thing. I wouldn't let go of that question. And it breaks my heart too, April. I agree with you. That's right, Cece. Especially a woman. And like I said, the way she dressed in her photos, she was matching in her jewelry and her clothing, her bag and her clothing. That just doesn't seem like the woman that would go out in the woods and unalive herself when she had the house to herself. I don't know. Like I said, this is frustrating. And you would wonder whether they think we're all silly or... That's right, Holly. She had the pills. She took them. And she died from medication intoxication, like they said. Why not lay at home and take them? Oh, you didn't know that about Trinity Becks? Which bit? That she was nude and found in a drainage pipe and they had to cut her out of it? Or the stories that keep changing? No offence to her auntie. Like I said, I know something traumatic, you can change little, you won't remember little things. However, the main guts of the what happened, you don't forget. I mean, first I heard it was what was it? The girls were in the room and she ran out, and the other girl that was there went in and told the auntie. And then I heard that she did a bong rip, that's right, and ran out. Oh, she asked the girl to get her auntie. She needed her. And why the other girl went to get the auntie, she ran out and took off. The second one was that she was saying about radiation, that radiation was going to get them and run out. The third one was the auntie was in bed, got up to tell them to go to bed, and apparently when the auntie went back, she ran out. Then the other one was that she was going to a boyfriend's place that was 10 miles away. And I mean, one would think if that one was true, why is she going with just a thin dressing gown on and thin pajamas and no shoes, but has socks on? And why would you let her go like that? Yeah, I didn't know that either, April, and to somebody else said it. But apparently that's how she was found. I better not say that's fact because I hadn't read it. I did hear that off of somebody that makes sure their facts are 100% right. But even if she'd, if Trinity had taken LSD or whatever, and she's frightened and paranoid, but she's running, I couldn't imagine a young girl hiding in a drainage pipe. No, that's right, Pamela. The truth never changes much. It doesn't vary. April, to be honest, I have never taken drugs like that either, love, but have known quite a few people that have. And as for taking off clothes, it's not a normal thing. It's not a normal reaction. I have come across very few people, probably one that I know of, but he intentionally did it. So there's only one person that I know of in all the years I've been around, love, that has ever taken clothes off. But like I said, he intentionally did it. So, but it seems that they're all doing it now in the cold. Apparently, it's a new trend. Very sad. My heart breaks for her son and Amanda too. I wouldn't like to lose my mother like that. However, see, the other thing that doesn't sit right for me, in my opinion, is how easily Amanda accepted the fact the police said that she unalived herself. Oh, you're welcome, April. And yet her son doesn't believe it. But it's just frustrating. It really is frustrating me. The last time she saw her mother alive, Bearden said Collier had tears in her eyes. I'd never seen her that sad. And hi, Life. How are you, sweetheart? Glad to see you here. It does seem so out of character for her. But see, there was my point. She said she was sad. She had tears in her eyes and that she'd never seen her that sad. But doesn't mention that to police when she reports her missing, or the next day when she rang the police back a few times about everything else, or when she's at the scene and they're talking to her about her, whether her mum had mental health problems or whether she was inclined to unalive herself. And according to her, no was the answers, as you all heard on that report. So why the change? Don't get it. Do not get it. Amanda Bearden has been under intense scrutiny since the investigation into her mother's death began 68 days ago. Much has been made in the media, all her history of substance abuse and volatile relationship with her boyfriend. Adding to that scrutiny was the cryptic message and money Bearden received the day before her mother was found deceased. No, we don't either. Life, definitely not. Sorry, Pamela, no mention when the initial missing report. No. No, but if your mother is that sad that you have never seen her that sad, and like I said, according to Amanda on her live that she did, this one up here, she said about asking her mother what was wrong with her a couple of times, and her mother said nothing. But she's saying she's never seen her that sad. How do you not mention that to police? And maybe, yes, you'll forget it because your mind's going 100 miles an hour. But at the point where you're at that scene and asking you questions again, and they're actually saying, did your mother suffer from any mental illness? Would she be inclined to be unaliving herself? And the answer was no, and no. No mental illness, and no, she would never do that. So, but now after they've said it, she's now piecing it together. That's right, Pamela, they would. They would say that she's been upset. I mean, like she said in that live, she said her mother had taken the week off of work. Amanda said she apparently said she's looking forward to going back to work because Amanda apparently responded with, who's happy to ever go back to work? Well, I used to love going to work, so there are a lot of people that do. However, there are just things that, so she's happy about going back to work, but she's the saddest that she has ever seen her. And then your mum's missing, your reporter missing. The next day you're ringing the police up with passwords and, how about contacting, doing the ping off of the car, etc., etc. Then wouldn't you at some point say, look, Mum was acting a bit off. She was really sad. And I believe there was something going on with her. However, I did ask her and she never answered me or said there was nothing wrong. But I have to say it's the saddest I've seen her. She was giving me stuff that she's never done before. Hi, David. How are you, love? Good to see you here. That's right. She just does not seem like that type of woman to me. That's right, Jen. Your last day and you're going to go to Chick-fil-A and to the dollar store, and then you're buying stuff which I don't understand. The whole rain poncho, I don't understand at all. That's what makes me think that just maybe she was going out there to sit out there and have some lunch or something. And something else happened, or she was meeting somebody. Did she take that medication herself? Go down the rabbit hole here, couldn't we? It's just very hard to accept. At 3:17 p.m. on September the 10th, Bearden received $2,385 from her mum. Now, there's the other thing. If you were going to unalive yourself and you have two children, why would you only send money to one child and not the other one? Yeah, that's right, Holly. Why would you? It makes no sense, does it? Makes no sense. And what was the tarp for? To me, the tarp and the roll of paper towel, and the fact that she stopped at Chick-fil-A makes me think that she was going to sit down and have lunch somewhere on the tarp. Maybe she did meet up with somebody. Maybe she was seeing somebody else. It's just really odd. I'm going to keep saying that. And this is going to drive me insane. Like it will everybody else. Where was I up to? From her mum. Through the payment app Venmo. Attached was a cryptic message that read, "They are not going to let me go. Love you. There is a key to the house in the blue flower pot by the door." So if Debbie knew at that point what she was going to do, but is more concerned about telling her about the key, because the I love you is very brief. If her receiving that money from Mum was indeed from Mum, why didn't Stepdad know? He would have said something in the 911 call. Yeah, I agree. But then why did Amanda tell Steve that it was a text message? Yeah, could have. But see, I don't think Debbie would actually put her on the street. I think Debbie would be more inclined to threaten her and say, "You've got 24 hours, 48 hours for him to leave, or else you're out on the street." That would explain a lighter fluid and everything else too, if they set her up saying they needed some things for homeless time. Yep, very true. And yep, that's what I reckon you would. Me personally, I would send money to all my children, not just one, at that point. I mean, because it still sends the same message. You're sending this one money with an "I love you," but nothing to your other child. And like I said, she was far enough away where nobody was going to get to her before she passed over. It's just very frustrating. Very frustrated. That's why I thought I'd jump on here and share with you all so you can all be frustrated with me and we could brainstorm it. Yeah, that's a bit that I said stuck in my head too. that Steve honestly thought it was a text message, or that's what he made it seem to be like, that he didn't know it was Venmo and that money was sent with it. But the funny thing about that too, I might add, is when the policeman asked him, or dispatched asked him, that come from her number too, right? He never answered it. No life, none of it makes sense at all. Or I must have different common sense than they do. Totally different common sense. Hopefully. But in saying that, Cheryl, this is from the autopsy report from the coroner saying what she died from and that it was an unaliving, briefly. But I would like them to come out and do a presser and explain how she did this and what makes them think that she did do this. Hi, Pacific. How are you, lovely? Glad to see you here. You can welcome to brainstorm with us. That's right, life. If it doesn't make sense, it's not true. It's just... Nah. Yes, but that would put some people over the edge too. Yeah. That's right, Cheryl. You never do. But you would make sure your children got a message from you. I couldn't see her being that woman that didn't think about her kids like that. That's right, Holly. They would have to answer questions, but then they can also turn around and refuse to, like they're good at. It seems to be, like I said, there's a whole lot of contradictions in this. I mean, the detective in this said, when he first saw it, that's what he thought had happened, that she unalived herself. So why push the presser to say this was targeted and personal, etc., etc.? And, Amanda not saying anything to them about Mum was depressed or she was upset, sadder than usual, or it's the saddest I've seen her. She was also giving away stuff. There seems to be a whole lot of contradictions here. What about this? What is, Andrew? Well, yeah, that's a possibility too. However, Andrew's the one that keeps saying that she definitely did not unalive herself. It does, yeah, very much so. Brainstorming is good. That means everybody can put in their thoughts and their opinions, and we can go through them all. Because we don't know who's right or who's wrong. That's why I find it senseless to have a go at somebody for saying something that's different to what you think. Nobody knows the truth other than the people that were there, which was Debbie. Yeah, Pacific. She does. Holly, this was today, love. November the 17th. This was 41 minutes ago that they put this out. Did you hear when I read the top bit of this by the state medical office? I'll go over it again for you. The state medical examiner's office has ruled Debbie Collier's death a unaliving. Autopsy results released this week revealed the Athens woman died from inhalation of superheated gases, thermal injuries, and hydrocodone intoxication. That's right, CC. Everybody has had good points. This is why we need to brainstorm. This is why we need to all listen to each other. They could have had a gas line on the rag and held it over her face. I don't know why they're saying she... No, I don't either. Gerald. It doesn't add up to me. It really doesn't. Okay, Holly, I thought you might have. That's why I thought I'd read it for you. Again, so that you were all up to date with us. There's nothing worse than coming in and you're kind of trying to catch up to what everybody knows. No, it doesn't, because this isn't the report. This is only a breaking news. It's only an article. I could see. I wonder. Let me have a look for you. If you can bear with me for 2 secs, I will have a look for you. I'll put some. There, I put something on for you to watch in the meantime while I just have a quick look.
Let me see the
Hang on.
Let me see the tiger.
Stop leaning forward. You can't be silly, darling. Don't be silly, darling.
Dad, let me see that.
Hang on.
Let me see that tiger. Please. Please, please.
Okay, guys, sorry about that. No, there's no report out that I can find. And I'm out of comments, sorry. Let me get into comments. Aha. Yeah, that's what I said, April. They also could have dropped it in a drink or something too. You just don't know, sadly. And sadly, the only person that does know is no longer here. Or whoever else might have been with her. Yeah, it would, Jen, you would think. See, the only way I see it is with the whole unaliving thing. You would not think she would take the medication before she drove an hour away, because by then the medication would have kicked in. So she stopped at Chick-fil-A and then she's gone to the dollar store. And the only way I can see that is when she pulled back out of the car park and then parked again across from the car park into another car park area, then she has taken, that's the point, she sent the Venmo and taken the medication and driven to that spot. Or she got to that, she parked there because the medication had started to kick in. But the tarpon and the Chick-fil-A and everything else that she had makes me think that she was going somewhere to have lunch, possibly with somebody else too. Well, Jen, that's what I'd like to know too. Well, that's what I'd like to know too, Holly. But if you're going to unalive yourself, why are you bothering to eat too? Yeah, that could be true too. April, it's definitely not making sense, is it? The more you think about it, the worse it gets. The whole tears in her eyes, and she's never seen her that sad. And the whole thing just doesn't sit right with me. That's right. Why buy a reusable tote bag? Why buy Chick-fil-A? Why are you bothering to eat? Why are you bothering to drive an hour away from there? Why are you bothering to have a tarp and the rolls of paper towel? A lot of it does not fit at all. I mean, you think about, if you remember. Oh, good night, CC, love. Thanks for being here. Take care, sweetheart. Thank you for your input. Appreciate it. So if you think about it, Amanda was the one that called the police the next day and said, I've got to remember exactly what she did say. Oh, she said about having passwords and whatnot for Debbie's social media stuff. And what about pinging the car, and then happens to rattle off that, should I get a private investigator? Well, you're still not thinking your mother's upset and all the rest of it. But on top of that, you accept them saying this was targeted and deliberate, and then saying, no, she did. She took that so easy. And yet Jeffrey is not taking it, but Amanda's praising them now. She was not at the store. How do we know it was her buying the food and not on an imposter? Well, we don't. We really don't. The other thing is too, God, I forgot what I was going to say in that split second. For somebody that was unaliving herself, she was doing a lot to say that's definitely not what she was doing, or what she had any intentions of doing, in my opinion. You would think somebody that's about to do that wouldn't be so concerned about eating and buying tarps and ponchos and all that. It's just strange. Taking his mother passing seriously, he was fired. See, Jeffrey's fired up. He generally acted like this was his mother out there. She said, adding, the criticism that law enforcement has been given, it hasn't been from me. No, I don't think so. Yeah, where is the poncho? Where's the lighter? Where's her shoes? There was never any mention about her shoes, that they found her shoes. There was mention that they found, and why was the phone broken? I forgot about that. Her phone was broken. Why is she breaking her own phone if she turned it off already? That makes no sense at all either. Yeah, that's right, it was too, April. Well, that's what I'd like to know too, Pacific. I haven't heard anything about the poncho or the lighter or the shoes, and why the broken phone, like I said. If she turned her phone off, which according to them, her phone went off after that Venmo was sent, why would she break it? None of it adds up to me. None of it. I completely forgot about the broken phone. I mean, if she was going to break it, at the point she decided to switch the phone off, why wouldn't she just throw it out the window? It's all a little strange. When I like Trinity's one, it's all a little strange. It is frustrating, Holly. That's why I thought I'd jump on here, because it was frustrating me. The more I'm left to my own mind, the worse it gets when something like this happens. It's the weirdest thing. It's like, yeah, these last few cases have been really hard and frustrating. I'm not getting it. And then sadly, you have that the murders of them 4 young adults that were stabbed and nobody heard it, yet there were other people there. And my mind says, how did the other people not actually hear anything? These cases are just getting harder and more frustrating. I mean, we're blessed that they finally found somebody and charged them for the Delphi murders, thank God. You're welcome, Cheryl. You have a good night, sweetheart, and take care. Thank you for being here. It is very sad about the 4 students, Pacific. Very sad. My mind just goes, well, how did none of the other residents there or the people that were there not hear anything? See you soon, Cheryl. trying to get on here. Sorry, I'm just messaging Joe back. He messaged me. He's watching the movie with his granddaughter. All good. Seeing if there's any news about them 4 people so far. Well, there you go. I've got some video. And we'll throw this over there. Drop this down so I can see chat. I still think it has something to do with the rehab. Could be a great possibility. Yep, could be. The whole phone thing, like I said, I completely forgot about that. But now thinking about it, why are you breaking your phone after you've switched it off? She could have thrown it in the bin at the dollar. So we'll watch this video. I think there's 2 in this video. Yeah, 2 of the 4. That apparently is not going to play for me. Oh, that's really low. This is really low, guys. Sorry. Not a reason at all. You're right, Pacific. If you turned it off, that's all you had to do. Yeah, you're right, Holly. Add it to a whole list of things that don't add up. And it's getting worse. We'll see how you go hearing this, guys. Oh, no, that really is. Oh, no, wait a minute. Can you all hear that okay? I forgot it was still running through my earphones. That's why I couldn't hear it. That's why I was saying it was really low. Just need to know that you can hear it okay. I'm pretty sure I did share the audio. Oh, you can't hear it, Holly. Okay. Right, let me try this. Sorry, guys. So let me try this again. Share audio system. Okay. I'll play it for you. So if you can hear it, can you just type a 1 for me, please?
I know there are a lot of unanswered questions too when it comes to the timeline. So this new video has surfaced just after 1 a.m. Two of the victims at a food truck. We learned from authorities that they were reportedly murdered overnight, that when officials arrived at the house, that was because of a 911 call at 11:58 a.m. for an unconscious person. They got there, the door was opened, and there didn't appear to be damage inside. All of those details raising more questions. Are you getting any answers as to that timeline, as to other people who were in the house?
We're not right now. We know that the other two people in the house were the other two roommates who lived in that residence with them. We're not really getting any more answers at this time. Obviously, we're trying to respect the traumatic events that have happened to those two living roommates. And we assume the police are investigating it to its full conclusion.
Very sad case, that. Very sad. And hopefully they will catch him soon, whoever it is. And the truck in the video, Madison, Megan and Kylie. It is really sad. This is a lovely picture of them, though. See, here's another one that they believe this is a targeted attack too. And that's what it sounds like to me too. If there were other people in the place they were in, then it pretty much does sound like a targeted attack to me. Because it says here, despite the lack of an arrest or suspect, Moscow police initially described the killings as a targeted attack and said there was no threat to public. Fry backtracked some on Wednesday in his first news conference on the case. We cannot say there's no threat to the community, Fry said, and as we have stated, please stay vigilant, report any suspicious activity and be aware of your surroundings at all times. Some students left the area days ahead of fall recess, which begins Monday. Everybody kind of went back home because they're scared, with no suspect caught. Student Nathan Tino, who was planning to leave Friday, said Friday after attending some classes, told CNN it's definitely uneasy. And yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? That'd be frightening. No one in custody, and police have been unable to identify who is responsible for these homicides. So are they actually going to get anybody? Oh, yeah, I agree with you, Jen. But they have no idea what the person looks like. And I would say they have no idea whether it's just one person too. Yep, very much so. Oh, so the father of Ethan is pleading with police to release further information about the killings. There is lack of information from the University of Idaho and local police, which only fuels false rumors and endo, that word, sorry, tongue-tied, having a bad day, in the press and social media. He said the silence further compounds our family's agony after our son's murder. For Ethan and his 3 dear friends slain in Moscow, Idaho, and all our families, I urge officials to speak the truth, share what they know, find the assailant, and protect the greater community. That makes you wonder what they do know. By the way the father's putting that, now I wonder what they do know that they want released. Very scary world we live in. And sadly, a lot of it's done through exactly what we were talking about. Hate. And arguments and bullying. Like, people don't know how to walk away anymore or to let things go. It's sad. The Green said they have been working with police to get information out in public. And police are making it sound like they really don't have any information. It's sad. It is terribly sad, Holly. It breaks my heart. And I'm scared for the next generation. So I don't know how we change any of this now. Sorry, guys. I was talking to my daughter, sorry. I really... It's getting harder and harder to accept all this. I would think that too, Pacific. You would think even if they were asleep after the first one, the rest would wake up, or at least one of them. And would you risk, if you were just one person, would you risk going in there on your own to do that? It just gets more and more ridiculous. But obviously, they'd have to have more than what they're putting out, really. I have a son who will graduate high school this year. The kind of stuff scares me to death. Yep. I'm scared for my grandchildren. I mean, in saying that, I will not take that away from you because you're over there. And crime rate over there is a lot higher than what it is here. So your fear would be a lot bigger than my fear. And that'd be terribly hard. Oh no, April, really? Yep. God, I'd be on the edge of my seat, guys. He loves computers. As long as they're vigilant and I guess watch who they hang around, watch who's around, what they're doing, what they like, where they go out. I mean, even your daughter and your son, as long as they take notice where they're going and who's around them and they don't put themselves at risk. And that's right, it should be, Jen. It should be the happiest time for them. And they should be able to do it without having that fear and without their parents having that fear. It's so unnatural. You're right, April. Too many. Far too many. Far too many young ones, far too many teenagers, far too many that are just going into adulthood. It's just ridiculous. I mean, even Kylie and Trinity, not to keep bringing them up, but that's two 16-year-olds that are taken away from the world that could have achieved who knows what. They had their whole life ahead of them. Sadly taken. There's Summer Wells. And the list just goes on and on and on. And it doesn't seem to be getting better. It seems to be getting worse. Yeah, that's so true, April. And like I said, a lot of it's based on frustration and hatred and hurt and anger and drugs and ridiculous things that can be changed. And just to bring this up, Michael Vaughn, God bless his heart, to Brandy and Tyler, as I said this morning, I am so, so very sorry to you that unfortunately YouTubers would release information that you didn't know and that you should never have had to find out from anybody other than law enforcement. And then to have them drive past or to have people drive past your home and to put you in that feeling of being unsafe after what you have all been through, I am really so terribly sorry to you and your family. You do not deserve that. And I hope things get better for you. I hope people will leave you alone. I couldn't imagine being in that situation where you have a missing son and strangers start driving past your home again. You'd imagine that fear that would have been going through her and Tyler. And for that, I am so sorry. And I pray for you and your family. And I pray that Lord Almighty will wrap you up in his loving light and hopefully help you walk through this extremely hard, tough time in your life. You and your family, your children. And I hope you never, ever have to suffer ever again. But please know that Michael will be there with you. He will always be in your heart and by your side. Does seem to be getting worse now. Yep, you sure do, Pacific. You're right, Holly, it's not right. Yep. And that's all we can do is pray for them and let them know that they're supported. But not run out there and put stuff out or speak to neighbours or etc., etc. I'm not going to go right into it, but people need to stop and remember these are human beings. They're real people. This is real life. That you driving past their home, the amount of fear that, one child's already gone missing. You think that they're going to take strangers driving past there very lightly around their children? Not in a million years. No, they don't, Pamela. Unfortunately, then people shouldn't be in true crime. If you don't have empathy, if you don't have compassion, then you should not be doing this. You shouldn't be doing anything that's related to speaking to people and conversing in vulnerable times. At all. A 5-year-old would have more compassion and more empathy, sadly. But it's all about views, clicks, and monetary gain. That's right, Holly. And it should. I will not, and I decided this when I started a channel, I will not give a heading just for clickbait. Every case I cover, and I'm not saying that I am perfect. There are things that I have said that I am not, that still hurt me, like Jacinta about her friends, saying it could have been one of her friends. That hurts my heart. And, that wouldn't make them feel great at all. However, in saying that, you don't deliberately go out of your way without stopping and thinking, you need to put yourself in the situation you're about to do. If I was in that situation, or my family or my loved ones were, how would I take what I'm about to say? How would that make what I'm about to say, how would that make me feel if it was me? That's right, Pacific, we do. And we've started it. That's right, Jen. Very much so. We can do better, Holly. We've started it. We can change it. I would personally, if I couldn't have any empathy for somebody or any compassion for somebody or any type of understanding of things that would hurt somebody else, then that would be it for me. I wouldn't be doing this at all. It would be time to shut it down. Like I said, we all need to raise the bar, not just on channels, but with ourselves. We all need to learn to support each other, not be so quick to pull each other down or attack one another. Not attack somebody because their opinion differs from your opinion. Because none of us know whether our opinions are right. And we all need to remember that without people in chat, without people watching this, we're nobody anyway. We're only as good as our audience. Oh, thank you, Holly. I hope so. But I believe you guys are too. It's not just me. You guys are doing it too. That's why we all found each other. Because we care. We want to see change. We want to see kindness between each other. We want to lift each other up. I tend to speak what I feel. And I'm pretty straight up and honest. Like I said, the support I got from all ears means so much to me. Even the the little lessons or the talks that I was giving on Joe's channel, or the little exercises. Hi, Jody. How are you, sweetheart? Great to see you, hun. That I did on Joe's channel. As much as I was giving, you guys were giving back and sharing. As much as you were all learning, I learned from you guys too. And that's sad, Pamela. That's sad to think. It breaks my heart. But like I said, we can change it. We'll change it by being kind to others. The LA should not have given the info in the first place until the family was notified, and the YouTuber should have never put that info on their show knowing that family could be. That's right, 100%, April. 100%. That's why we all need to do better. Now, as much as we're sitting here going through Debbie Collier's and how it doesn't add up for us, and her son either, I mean, regardless, Amanda is still hurting. That's still her mum at the end of the day. And please forgive us, Amanda. We're not trying to upset you or hurt you or blame you at all. We're going through it because things don't add up to us. That they can be, April. That they can be. But then teach their children not to bully. Kind of a double standard, isn't it? See, that's the other thing that gets me. When a child attacks another child at school, it's called bullying. The same as yelling and screaming at them or calling them names is also called bullying. But apparently when you become an adult, it's just acceptable. It doesn't make sense. That's right, April. Lead by example. 100%. Kindness over wins hurts and hatred. No. Jody, having the same problem, love. That's why I thought I'd jump on, because I was frustrating myself. And I thought I'd happily share the frustration with everybody, as well as brainstorm about what other people thought. It's hard to accept, really. Like when you just go through the general stuff, as we have done, the cell phone being broken, the Chick-fil-A, the dollar store, the tarp, the poncho. Why, if you're about to unalive yourself, are you doing all this? As we said, you wouldn't care about eating. You wouldn't need a poncho. Why are you breaking your phone? I think we all agree about that. You're right, Holly. I think we all do. I think we've all shared the frustration now. I'm sorry, guys. Sharing is caring. You'll be screaming at me soon. Stop sharing. We're getting frustrated. Oh, I love you guys. Well, thank you all for sharing my frustration. Sharing is caring, Holly. Even my frustration. Well, my lovely people, my lovely friends, who are all beautiful and amazing and kind, understanding. You're just outstanding people. I think I might leave it on that note. And hopefully we'll get some updates on the person that did that to the 4 students. Or they'll get be able to put out what the person looked like. I needed that giggle. That's good. I'm glad you needed that. We all do. Definitely all do. I did too, Pamela. I was a bit worried there for a moment. I thought, oh, is this really a good idea? But thought, what? Who better to share your frustrations with than friends? Thank you all for all your input, your opinions, and helping me with that frustration that I'm still frustrated. And hopefully we'll do more of this now. But remember, I love you all. You are all beautiful. Please believe in yourselves. Trust in yourselves. Always trust in your gut instinct. Always go by that. And thank you all lovely people for being here. You're so amazing. Take care, guys. Thank you. Bye.